I think it's for the first time I'm trying this, and I wanted to because early in the morning I just felt maybe I should try, give it a try, and but it will be something meaningful, right? Not just for the sake of trying, but something that can actually add value on it. And I'm someone who loves to express myself, someone who loves to reflect, think, and obviously do stuffs. So I actually usually write my journals in the evening, and then reflect my day, and I feel there is always something that is worth sharing. And why don't we actually share that with a larger audience, and YouTube is could be something that will help me to reach to a much wider audience across the globe. And the reason why I'm speaking English, because English is not my first language, but I decided to use it because I feel it's something that will help me expand my horizon of thinking and eventually help me connect with a bigger audience. So with all this little background and context, let's get started for today's reflection. So yesterday I was actually writing about my recent visit to one library located in a heart of the Kathmandu. So I was supposed to meet a friend of mine, and she was working in one big organization. So, but um, unlike being right on time, punctual, especially in context of Nepal, I actually arrived to that space 30 minutes earlier because it was less traffic that day, and I decided to sit near one building which where I visited few minutes earlier, few minutes, not few minutes, a few hours earlier. Then I was just sitting there, and I saw a gentleman sitting next to me. He was in his mid 30s, I guess, and he was scrolling his phone. And I was just like, I didn't want it to pay much focus to the thing what he was observing, but I couldn't actually help myself. So he was going through the TikTok, and sometime he will come across a girl dancing in his video, and then suddenly a news about the current war between Israel and then Iran, and then suddenly he will come up with a person telling about something related to how he or she do something and all those things. Well, these all things were just happening as if this gentleman was a chef in a restaurant. He was actually cooking dishes every 10 to 15 seconds, and that was like, it's very interesting because it's kind of impossible to cook those dishes and to cook dishes in every 10 to 15 seconds. And I just thought, isn't this what all of us are trying to do every day in our life with the content and all those things? So I consciously chose not to pay much focus in his wonderful scrolling skill, but instead decided to focus in the area where I was sitting. This is part of my way of trying to be more conscious of what I'm doing and all those things. And during this time, I actually started scanning my environment. I saw a big tree, and then the fallen leaves, and then I shifted my focus and I saw a garage and where cars were parked, and then I came across this big building, and this building didn't felt new to me. It felt familiar, and then that was the moment I realized I was not actually stepping in this building for the first time. I've been here 8 years ago, and that was the moment I realized like everything is happening in a full circle. This was not for the first time. So what happened 8 years ago was that I finished my 10th grade, which we call SCE, and I had never been in library before, and I wanted to be in library. So I decided to explore where are the libraries located in Kathmandu, and the library located in Hariyar Bhavan was the first library that I visited. So I went there, and I always used to visit the children's section of the library. Went there, and it was during that time I actually accidentally came to meet one of my school senior who was living in the same building where I was currently scanning all those things and sitting right now. And when all these things were coming in my head, I just felt maybe I should go and quickly check that old library building, how it is and what it is doing. So I started heading towards that building, and then when I was walking in that building, I started feeling all those things that occurred 8 years ago, me going in the children library, scanning those books. I remember reading the autobiography of Steve Jobs and how he was actually adopted, and then how he used to visit every weekend in a Hare Krishna temple, how he was himself fired. I mean, he was fired from his own um, office, and then how it felt when he was helpless, and then how he decided to give it one more try. Seriously, when I was reading his autobiography, I definitely felt more motivated. And I also remembered how I used to flip the encyclopedias when I was feeling bored and all those things. After all these thoughts and all those thinking in my head, I reached out. I actually reached to the place where I was supposed to. And as soon as I reached there, I just paused. I just became shocked and surprised, because the main library, which I never visited but I always wanted to, was a very big, white, majestic building full of architects, lots of wooden craft and all those things. Was actually now abandoned, and it was in a miserable situation. 8 years ago, this building was something uh, that sent an invitation to people. Hey, come visit me. It used to be a source of inspiration for people. But right now, this thing is abandoned and full of grass in it. Plants growing up, rusty windows, and all those things. Uh, but something just felt very bad, and also at the same time, something just made me realize how powerful this time can be. And that was the moment I realized, and I actually remembered that I never stepped inside the building. Why I never stepped inside the building? Because I thought that the big building is for big people, and the small children section is for children like me. So I always kept on. I mean, I was actively visiting that children section of the library for around 7 days, let's say a week. Always passed next to this big, massive building. Always appreciated how wonderful it is, but was not able to be inside. And right now, after 8 years, the appreciation is there. That massive respect for the building is there, but I am not able to be inside because the building is completely soft. And with all these things, thoughts in my head, I was just stepping back from that building. And when I was coming in the exit gate, I just thought, what was actually stopping me to be inside the building? Nothing. It was all my own assumption that I'm not allowed to be inside the building because I am a young guy. I'm not adult, and that building is for adult. But in reality, like, it was all my assumption, because there is no such library that is only for adult or children. Yeah, anyone can visit. And I just thought, like, what if I had just asked that day? What if I had asked that, am I allowed to be inside the building? My this big wish to be inside the building would have been solved. And then I realized, isn't this how oftentimes every time in my life we keep on holding assumptions to a particular thing, and irrespective of the fact that whether those challenges are true or not, we just keep on believing whatever comes in our head, comes in our way. And interestingly, after 8 years, right now, what I do these days, I actually visit school children, and I teach them how to challenge the assumptions. I teach them design thinking. I teach them entrepreneurial education. And it's very interesting how this all thing is making sense, because once upon a time, I was someone who decided not to step in a building, assuming this doesn't belong to me. And right now, it's the same person who is right now teaching young people to challenge the assumptions. And yeah, yesterday I again came across the graduation ceremony speech of Steve Jobs in Stanford back in 2005, and he said, in order to actually connect the dots, you don't have to move forward, you have to look backward. And right now, after looking backward, after these 8 years, these all things start making sense. And the reason I'm making this video, because I assume that I cannot make this content. I assume that I cannot do this, but I just wanted to challenge myself and see if I can. And to all those people who decided to watch these videos, I'm definitely sure you also have your own assumptions towards particular thing in your life. Just take a pause and reflect and just challenge and just ask, is it a true assumption, or is it just in my head? And if it is just in your head, give it a try. With that note, now I have to go for a walk. Thank you so much for everyone. Have a wonderful day. I have to figure out how I can stop it.